Yeah, so thank you so much. And, I'll start by saying that, and we've heard other speakers say that too, that, just within the last couple of years, artificial intelligence technologies have moved away from the realm of science fiction to hard sciences. But, there's still a fair amount of skepticism around if machines will ever be able to attain what we like to call like a human level understanding of the world, and then therefore also interact with it as we do. So my hope is that by the end of this presentation, I'll be able to convince you that, in fact, number one, we are well on our way to that future. And then secondly, market research is and will be playing a monumental role in us getting there. Okay. So first, a bit of my background. I have a master's in computer science from Technical University of Denmark. And previously, I worked as a software developer at Microsoft, focusing primarily in areas of artificial intelligence and predictive modeling and so on. A couple of years ago, I started Glimpse, an AI company within market research. So based on my background and experience, I can say with almost utmost confidence that we are not far from the future where machines will become sentient. Now, let me clarify that. I don't mean sentient as in a Terminator kind of way, but more in a manner where they can genuinely feel empathy, happiness, and even serenity. And as you can imagine, that would have a very profound impact on our society and way of life. Now whenever I, sorry, skip the slide. So now, whenever I make these claims, there's undoubtedly some skepticism. And in fact, you might be asking yourself, isn't AI just about, asking Siri for directions to the nearest Chinese restaurant or beating Lee Sedol in a game of Go? True. These are one of the most well-known applications of AI today, along with a host of others such as self-driving cars, but we have to remember that this is just the beginning. The next generation of AI will actually transcend this information processing, which is quantitative or rational in nature, and will step firmly into qualitative or the emotional realm. So machines will not only be able to do tasks which we think are just very much assigned to computers, but also things which we think of as very uniquely human. For example, gossip. So now the question is, what is holding us back? Well, in the last decade, we have made great strides in both AI algorithms and the machines on which we can run those algorithms on. So those have been like tremendously beneficial. But the biggest challenge has been, and which has prevented emotional AI from becoming a reality, has been the availability of data. And this is especially so because to teach machines, we not only need data sets that have volume and diversity, but also contextual specificity. So, or in other words, we need data that has both classification and context for the problem. So, which your AI system is designed to solve. So, if you're trying to solve a checkers problem, you need data for checkers, and then you can move on to different fields. So, if you think about it, in a way, it's not very different than teaching humans, say, physics. Here, you need a curriculum and a textbook specific to the topic of physics, so which could be like on mechanics, electromagnetics, quantum field theory, and so on and so forth. So the curriculum is essentially what you can call a training data in machine learning world. So now the obvious question is, where do we get this training data so we can leap into the next generation of AI? Well, thanks to one of the biggest trends in our time. So thanks to one of the biggest secular trends of our time, namely the rise of visuals, the data needed for teaching machines on how to be more human is actually readily available. And why is that the case? Well, it is actually simple. Visuals are extremely rich in context and human emotion. In fact, visuals like these are the new language of consumers. And to give you the sense of popularity and volume, over 3.2 billion photos are uploaded and shared on social media every day. And this is rapidly growing. In fact, by 2017, 74% of all traffic on the internet will be visual. So now the question is, how do machines learn from this data? Well, the short answer is just like us. So, for example, let's take a look at one of the most common applications of machine learning today, and that is computer vision. So this is a picture of my son when he was a little over 6 months old. He's 2 now and equally daring. And these are various images of my wife. So my son has seen his mother in various different settings. He has seen her in different levels of light, with or without glasses, with short and long hair, with makeup or no makeup, side profile, and so on. But with each new image he processes, his brain is reinforcing connections between images of his mother and the concept of his mother. In fact, by the age of 6 months, a child has taken over 1 million snapshots of his or her mother, and therefore can take a brief look at any new image and recognize their mother with a high degree of certainty. Yeah, and that's exactly how artificial neural networks are constructed. So they are modeled after a similar function in our brain, namely a network of synapses and neurons. So it is the neurons, if you remember from your high school biology class, that fires a particular signal, fires signals based on a particular input. So in a similar manner, machine learning system uses inputs, for example, in case of image recognition, images, and activates synapses across a computer-based neural network to perform, which then performs a particular task. It could be all the way from object identification to telling you, hey, there's a coffee mug in this picture, and so on. In practice, when you create a network, right, and you pass the data through it, you do not tell it from the outset what to do with the data. You let the machine decide what is the right answer and what is the wrong answer, and what should be the answer. And if the answer is correct, you don't do anything, and if it is wrong, you just go ahead and correct it. So this is basically what we call supervised learning. So again, another terminology. So you might have heard the term deep learning. So what exactly makes machine learning deep? Well, our brains are deep learners because they employ specific techniques to disassemble data into different chunks, analyze these chunks separately, and then reassemble the learnings into a holistic analysis of what is being perceived. So it's just not like a simple input and output network. It's actually a network of multiple inputs and multiple points of analysis. And one of the most popular techniques of analyzing imagery utilizes a type of a deep learning system called convolutional neural networks. So, pretty advanced. Now, the question is, what does market research have to do with all this? Well, I think almost everything. So, though, we can analyze, we can use millions of cat pictures on the web to train computers on identifying a cat, the data sets that actually provide human level or subjective understanding are practically non-existent. For example, while standard computer vision today can easily tell you, if you look at these two images here, that image on the left shows jeans in a drawer, and image on the right are of jeans lying on a floor, the subjective understanding of these images, such as neat, for example, on the left, and then neat and organized, and then messy on the right, is something that can only be uncovered by teaching machines through data sets which are actually rich in human understanding. And this is where qualitative market research, with its emphasis on emotions and behaviors, comes in. The rich qualitative data sets we have obtained through methodologies such as ethnography, focus groups, and so on, are ideal for training machines through the process of supervised learning. And what is even more exciting is how AI systems trained on these qualitative data sets are already shaping the industry. For example, they're helping companies understand consumers on a deep emotional level. So they're enabling them to basically create products which are better, simpler, and much more personal. And then, and when machines start down this path of analysis, you can get benefits of not only scale, speed, but also individualization. So now you can truly, treat each and every customer as if they were your only customer. So now, let's take a look back at the jeans example. this was actually from a study we did for a company that was looking to launch a new ad campaign for a brand of jeans. And as part of their typical pitch and ad creative process, they used Glimpse to collect and analyze like thousands of images and videos from all over the world. And what did the brand discover? Well, they found out that people who throw their jeans on the floor and people who organize them perfectly, all of them did it for one simple human reason. And no, it was not because they were messy or neat freaks, but rather for ease of accessibility or ease of access or accessibility. And no wonder they came up with the following campaign. So, no wrinkles, no matter how you choose to store our jeans, they're always available or accessible to you. So deeply profound and like really a human level message, but generated because of machine intelligence. So with that, I want to leave you with this. We are close. That's like finding things like accessible, as you can imagine, is just the start. We are going that path where machines are learning to be very, very human. And we are very close, closer than, most of us might be aware of. And, I would say this would not have been possible without market research and qualitative consumer insights. And what does the future hold? Well, a lot of promise. So you can imagine, things such as robots that sense how people feel and then react accordingly, or machines that, understand what is compelling artistic content. So I'm really optimistic about this future because the foundational concepts for training these computers are, in fact, coming from the human brain. So if you believe in humanity, you believe that the machines which will learn from this humanity will be equally great. So with that, thank you for listening and happy to take any questions.